All right, and we are back for week 3 of the Big Fudge Experience. It is now back to being called the Big Fudge Experience. Screw my co-hosts, Tom Bevilacqua and Matt Bachman. We have a special guest this week, the diabetic himself, Jack Mostow. Mostow, how are we doing?
Great to be on the show, fellas. I'm doing great. No place I'd rather be right now.
I can imagine. How's life being a lawyer? A fake one.
I'm not a lawyer yet. A fake one, yeah. It's just the grind. I'm not running from the grind like some of the people in this league. So that's all I can say.
Oh, we're starting off early.
Some people are scared of the grind. Bev, Matt, you guys got anything to say to the people before we get into it?
Not much. Another good week.
Yeah, another solid week. Happy to have the full squad back for the first time in the last 2 weeks. We were missing someone, so.
Yeah. Sorry I was MIA last week. Got lost in an IKEA. Was there for 3 hours. Thank God I have random pit stops and I was able to get some meatballs. Otherwise, I might have starved trying to find my way out. It got ugly for a second.
Why are you wearing an Eagles jersey like in the middle of the week?
Go Birds.
It's a football podcast, dude.
Do you wear a jersey every week? Did I just not notice that?
Have you watched a single one of the episodes?
I did. I watched.
No, I haven't worn one for every single one. No, I'm just wearing one this time.
You wore one last week.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. It was an eventful week 3. That's for sure. Thank God Knapp didn't kill any quarterbacks this week. First game that we're getting into was the Battle of the Pod. Me versus Bachman. Bachman took out the win pretty convincingly, 128-100. But with my shell of a team, I feel like I'm putting up good fights over here. Bachman, we're 3-0. How do we feel?
When love my receivers, when my RB1 is currently Brandon Albright, because Bev sent me a funny statistic today saying that he would currently be RB6, and I think wide receiver 8 out of every one that's on the fucking all players.
Wait, you're 3-0?
He's in first place, brother.
And your best player is a kicker. You're on the You're the 2022 Mike.
And that's the in-depth analysis of Jack Mostow and why we bring him onto the pod.
The running back game isn't strong. I have some trades cooking now, so hopefully I will be able to replace those. But I was trying to get Mostow to be involved and help his team.
Bachman, you told me personally that you would never start Javonte Williams again. And here he is in your starting lineup putting 4 points
Well,
up.
dude, when the choice is between him and guaranteed 20 carries a game, Zamir White, who has not seen over 9 carries a game, it's a little tough.
Speaking of the Watts, are you regretting the offseason Rashad White trade? A first and 2 seconds. That's a steep price to pay.
It's early. I know, it's early. I mean, I still think he'll get the work in the receiving game, so I'm not overly concerned about it. I was more thinking of him as like an RB. He can be my RB2. I have plans to get my RB1.
He can be your RB2. You just need an RB1, brother. That's the flaw in your plan there.
RB2.
The thing is, the rest of my team is pretty complete at this point. Like, they're all my receivers under the age of 24, other than Debo, love Lamar, a quarterback, kickers, obviously God, and then. So, once I figure out that piece, I think my team's pretty much set. So, it'll happen in the next few weeks. Just a matter of getting some people in this league to fucking make some trades.
Really did just kind of rip you off on that one. Selling high to a T on Rashad White. Moving on. Our next game. Tim took down Connor. A little bit of a beatdown again on the special needs kid. It really is kind of easy beating down Connor in fantasy and in real life, I know from experience. Tim's the highest scorer on the week, but the people are talking. They're saying he might be a bit of a Saquon merchant these days. Makes all these trades, got all these different guys, but most of his points every week come from Saquon. Everybody else just kind of underperforms. How do we feel about the alleged Saquon merchant in Timmy
You should
Gooch?
trade him to me. He doesn't really appreciate a good running back when he's on his team, and clearly didn't do it when he was on the Giants. He's just underappreciating this gem he's got on his team.
As a former Giants fan, Mostow, we know your allegiances jump. How do we feel about Tim just again overlooking the impact of Saquon Barkley on his team?
I think Saquon is exactly what Tim is. They're both frauds. Absolute frauds who need elite supporting cast to carry them. It's the same exact thing.
Saquon is currently leading the league in yards, by the way. I want you to know that.
Yeah, he's
rushing
yards.
yards.
Up and down the field by Cam Jurgens and Lane Johnson and all these elite linemen.
I do want to note that on these 60 or 70 yard touchdown run he had this week, Lane Johnson and Mekhi Becton were both injured, and we had backups on the entire right-hand side of the offensive line, and he still busted them all.
All right. Mekhi Becton was on the Jets, so let's slow your roll.
That is fair. He was on the Jets, and one of the other things going on with Timmy Gooch here is that Mahomes-Kelsey stack that he paid a hefty price for really not looking great for him. Kelsey spent all offseason just banging a chick with no ass and not actually working out. And Mahomes really just isn't putting up the same numbers as he used to. That might end up coming to bite him later on in the season if those guys aren't performing.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, Saquon's great. Obviously, he's in a fucking awesome position. But, like, he's not going to put up 34 points every single week. It's not going to happen. Like, there's going to be game scripts where he is just going to not even underperform, but he put up, like, 14. And if that happens, the score slowly drops to around the mid-100s. So
he is a merchant?
He is a...
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Jury's out. He's a Saquon merchant.
Yeah.
Hate to see
All
it.
right.
Once a Giants fan, always a Giants fan. Our next game, Joe took down our very own Tom Bevilacqua in the game of the week. High scoring one this week, 131 to 120. Bev, we're 1-2.
This is the first time I've ever had a negative record in the league.
No, I've started off bad before, but I want to say publicly, whatever I did to Josh Allen, I am sorry. Please leave me alone. It's every time I play him, he drops at least 30. Man, this is getting ridiculous. I don't know what I did, but I'm sorry.
Bev, I'm looking at your team. We're talking about Saquon merchant. Bev is a Tyreek Hill merchant. Like, if Tyreek Hill doesn't catch an 80-yard touchdown, his team loses.
I had the fourth most points this week, and Tyreek put up 5.
Look, that is the one question I have for you. What is your plan for Tyreek Hill right now? Because you don't know when Tua is coming back, and so are you just going to kind of try to ride the wave, hope he catches a deep one? Are you considering benching him?
No, I'm not going to bench him. He's Tyreek Hill. There's no shot I can bench him.
You can't bench Tyreek Hill. You
Can't bench Tyreek Hill. Mostow, what do you think? Can he bench Tyreek Hill?
He can definitely bench Tyreek Hill. In fact, I was just talking.
You guys are sounding like you took a hit like Tua, man.
I was just talking to one of my friends at school today, and they were telling me that they are benching Tyreek Hill because they can't. He's not going to put up any points with Skylar Thompson.
Skylar Thompson's out now too.
Yeah, you don't believe in Tim Boyle?
Tim Boyle. Carry me to the shit.
The UConn legend?
Yeah. Go Huskies. But, yeah, I don't know. I think he is benchable. Everyone's benchable. See, that's what you sabermetrics morons are not getting. Like, you got to put whoever the best players are out on the field, and it doesn't matter how much money they're making or what they
What the fuck are you talking about?
Tino, you're with me, right?
I don't like that. Scores, rough and irritating. And it gets everywhere.
Yeah, man, all those sabermetric guys, we don't trust them. I wish we had a dedicated position in this league, and I'm going to start a petition this offseason for fullbacks. Everyone needs to roster a fullback. The amount of trade offers that Connor would get for Kyle Juszczyk might rebuild his team in one trade. Or else he'd just, give him away for some bum like Rondell Moore. That's just how Connor operates. But not looking good. Joe flopped his dick on the table, but one thing we want to note for Joe is Mark Andrews, another goose egg. 33% snap share this week. He gave up a lot of assets for him. Things aren't looking good in the tight end ring for Joe over there.
Obviously, Mark Andrews is sick, but Lamar has weapons now. He has Henry. He has Zay Flowers. He doesn't need to rely on Andrews as much anymore. So it's just kind of how it's going to go. It's not.
The biggest concern wouldn't be that he has other weapons. It's the snap share. He only played a third of the snaps this week. In a high scoring, you got to win kind of game. He was sitting on the bench.
You can't trust him.
Can't trust him.
I would never put him on my team.
Never.
He didn't get arrested. He can't be on Mostow's.
Yeah. It's a clean permanent record.
Yeah.
The sabermetrics don't point to guys with character. Our next game, moving on. Knapp took down Sam in another underwhelming win. Knapp kind of with a Charmin Ultra Soft schedule to start the year. Took down Sam, the lowest score on the week with only 106 points. Finally started the right quarterback, though, and had David Montgomery in his lineup. So I think he's learning, guys. He's getting
I
better.
think someone else is running his team. We might have to investigate
Got to call up his sister. Got to call up Christina to see if she stepped in. She's the only athlete that I trust. Is he? And I think we're all kind of in consensus here. He's a fraudulent 2-1. Things are going to start going south for him soon.
Oh yeah, I mean he'll continue to play the wrong quarterback. This was a broken clock is right. How many times a day? Twice.
I think. Not sure though.
Broken clock is right twice a day. I'm looking at his team right now. I mean, I don't even know. I don't even know whose tight end is. T. McBride? I don't know who that is.
Trey McBride?
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
He's not a Mostow kind of guy. He's never been arrested.
He doesn't have enough depth to make it. So
I don't know. But looking back, he definitely won that Cam Akers trade.
He did. Talking about one of the things we're looking at this week is trades. And that Cam Akers trade, Tim definitely lost that one. Being a Saquon merchant, he could use another elite running back like Cam Akers. Moving on to the next one, what I thought should have been game of the week. Last week, Huge takes down Carraher to go to 3-0. Tight win, only won by less than a point. Huge 3-0. Consensus favorite to win the league. Carraher starting at 1-2. What are you feeling about these guys?
I think Carraher's QB room has been a little iffy every time he's played AR. He's kind of underwhelmed. I told him to play him. I was like, stop trying to trade for a quarterback. You have Anthony Richardson. I might have been wrong.
Maybe. I mean, he could always trade for Bryce Young if he really wants an elite quarterback. I got him for sale.
God.
Should just break up Andy Dalton, man.
He just needs a change of scenery.
wait, so Eugene is 3-0 and Bachman's 3-0?
Eugene, Bachman, and Joe are 3-0 teams.
This league is upside down right now.
How is this upside down? I'm scorer. I'm literally the second highest scorer.
It wasn't that long ago, forget Bachman, it wasn't that long ago when Eugene didn't have a singular healthy quarterback on his team.
He made some moves this offseason, that's for sure.
I mean, Eugene has fucking stud running backs. Like, his receiver room has left a little bit to be desired. But
Him hitting on Kyron Williams, and again, broken clocks right twice a day. Only reason he wanted him was because he went to Notre Dame. Had no clue if he was actually good or not. But, he snagged him and he was just sitting there. And so, broken clocks right twice a day there. Bijan, he had the 101. He couldn't fuck that one up. And then, a lot of the guys who have been overperforming for him kind of came back to light this week. JMO, he was back to 0.7 points. He had a net total of 2 yards on the week. Tank Dell really hasn't been performing great. Rashid Shaheed, goose egg. And frankly, outside of his backs, his most consistent player is known misogynist, Harrison Butker. And I know all the fellas on here are allies. There's a reason he's on Eugene's team and not on ours, because none of us would roster such a heathen of a human. And I think that will be his downfall.
What's with Daniel Jones on the bench? Why is he benching a top 10 quarterback?
Is Daniel Jones a top 10 quarterback?
He's
QB 17.
He also played the Browns. Like, I don't think anyone was expecting you guys to win that.
I don't know, man. The Browns are ass. Browns are ass. Can I say that?
But yeah, I'll say, like, I think Carrifer will be fine. I think his team sometimes is just he did it last year too. His team was just sometimes some weeks just really inconsistent. Just because if he needs like big performances out of certain guys, and if they don't happen, he can pretty much. I think Carrifer can smoke anyone. I also think he could lose to 10 out of the 12 teams in this league. To be 100% honest, but like I do. So
definitely a bit boomer bust. Look, time will tell. He's definitely got the talent, but he's a little thin. An injury or two, or some guys not continuing to not perform. Things could get ugly for him down the stretch. And then, last but surely not least, the game I know we all want to talk about. Jimmy gets his first win on the year, taking down Jack Mostow, 113-97. Mostow 1-2. What's up?
All right.
We all thought you were back, and now we're 1-2.
He's gone.
Couple thoughts. 2007 Giants started 0-2 and 1-2. They won the Super Bowl, so it's fine. 2, Jimmy's Joe Burrow merchant and Jonathan Taylor merchant. I mean, 60 points between the two of them. Give me a fucking break.
No, ain't no party like a Jimmy party, so. Yeah, that's just up.
And listen, my team, I mean, I'm proud of my guys. I look at them and I can't be anything but proud. We're banged up. I mean, we are really banged up. And, you know, we fought and we almost pulled it out this week. Joe Burrow had a nice fourth quarter, but I don't know if anyone was watching. I was up by 1 in the third quarter of that game. So, listen, everyone's ready to write me off and say I'm not back. In the words of Aaron Rodgers, R-E-L-A-X. Relax. Everyone's got to relax. I mean, I feel like this is like when Knapp was telling me to freak out about the Yankees on June 1st because they weren't in first place. I mean, this is exactly that. We're going to be fine. Pacheco's going to come back end of the year. Mixon will be back in a couple weeks. Cooper Kupp's not even on IR. I mean, that's a miracle for him. So, we're fine. Derek Carr's going to keep the murder rate down in New Orleans.
Nope.
We're fine.
Dude, there was a murder like hours after we won that game.
Well, that's because, yeah, they were playing Philly. I mean, it was probably Philadelphian that went to the game.
It was any figures here, okay? I don't think there's any evidence to back that up. Just a little update for you, Masa. I don't know if you know about this, but Kamara did not practice today due to a hip and a rib injury. He's 2 injuries.
Probably that hoodlum Jalen Carter who just put on that ski mask and tore up the city of New Orleans, baby. He was chirping to the whole city on the sideline at the end of that game. He let them all know. Certified dog.
Because, you know, he's used to murdering people, so it's probably him.
Yo, we should bring in IDP so you can roster him, Mostow.
Yeah.
He fit right in.
Fitting right in.
But the injury bug really did hit your team. Pacheco's down, Mixon's down, Cooper Kupp's down, Jordan Love's been down, Graham Gano, you lost your kicker. And Ayuk, he's not hurt, he's just ass. Got that bag and just decided to stop playing football. Don't know what happened there, but in my opinion, as always, the best ability is availability. None of your guys are available, and I am switching back to Mostow is not back. That is now the official stance of Big Fudge on the Big Fudge experience. Until further notice, string together a couple wins, get some guys back. We can talk. Best guy on your team is Brock Bowers, though. If you want to trade,
Maybe trades.
I mean, I'm right over here, so.
Roommate.
He's a nice Christian boy. He doesn't fit your culture.
It's either trade to become a contender or trade to tank. You're kind of stuck in the middle here.
I have a point to make real quick. You know why your team is always injured? It's because when they become senior citizens, like your entire team, they're prone to injuries.
I don't understand, like, why doesn't Tim get this treatment? Tim's team is just as old as mine.
Tim makes more trades than he does, like, breasts in a day.
Yeah.
Tim's also 3-0. Yeah, Mostow, part of our issue with your team, and we need to tell you this directly, is you've been sitting in limbo. And not only is your team old, your team is a piece or two away from actually being a contender. And so it's either you got to start trading some picks and get some guys to push you over the edge, or you got to bail and sell your team. Otherwise, you're going to sit in mediocrity, and then your guys are all going to retire and continue to get hurt, and then you're going to be a mess.
You're not going to win starting Samaj P. Ryan.
I can't. Yes, I will. I will.
And that is the thinking that will get you fucked.
Yeah.
Look what happened to Connor, man. He won the league the first year, and his team just fell apart.
I only like to trade with Connor, and he doesn't offer me anything.
Moving on, just taking a quick look at next week. We have, I think, in my opinion, 2 different games of the week next week. We have the Contenders game of the week in Bachman v. Connor. Or Bachman v. Carher, I apologize.
I was going to say.
3 reigning champ versus the current first place in the league. And then the tank off, me v. Connor. Who can suck the least? And the worst part is he's trying to lose, and I would like to win because I don't have my pick, so I really don't care. Moving to 2-2 gets me closer to a playoff spot. That'd be nice. And before we kind of get into our last topics for the week, I would like to discuss who are your guys' MVPs at this point in the year. I think it's kind of obvious, but I want to hear your guys' thoughts before we get into it. Mostow, do you have an MVP pick so far?
Yeah, you're right. It is obvious.
Oh, boy.
It's Alvin. He's been balling out.
Alvin has been balling, that is for
Shut
sure.
down last week.
And he
He'll put up 15, but...
No, he's still got 15. I mean, apparently he's too old to be good, and somehow he's
1.7
RB2. Crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it's Alvin.
Okay.
Bev?
I'll go next. My pick is Josh Allen. Josh Allen, please leave me alone. I will do anything you want. Just, I'm tired, man. I'm tired. This shit's getting old. Even when I beat Joe, he still drops 30 on me. I'm tired.
Bachman, your MVP pick?
Got to stick with Brandon Aubrey. Guy just casually drill with 65-yard field goals. I get nothing.
Yeah. Those are all solid picks, fellas, for sure. But I am going to go with the RB1. You talked about the RB2, talked about a quarterback, talked about a kicker. I'm going to not only go with the RB1 and the number 1 overall player in fantasy. We already talked about today, Saquon Barkley. He's carrying Tim's team on his back on those ginormous quads. He's just carrying him to a 3-0 record. It's the only reason he's there. He's the only reason he's going to be relevant. And MVP of the league through 3 weeks. Now moving on, kind of a couple things we want to talk about. One of the things that has been a hot topic throughout the league, Mostow, you grace the league with your rankings of everybody. Can you describe the thought process behind these rankings? Were these current teams? Were these everybody as managers? And what led to not only the formation of these groupings, why people ended up in these groups?
Yeah, I mean, I think... So this was after week 1.
Tuesday, September 10th, to be exact.
Yeah, do you mind if you give me just 1 second to pull up these rankings in the group chat?
For sure.
I'm sorry. I just want to make sure I have them in front of me. So I this was after week 1, and well, first, I mean, it needs to be known that Tim's team is a fraudulent team. I mean, he has a team that's older than mine, and somehow, his team's and mine, needs a total makeover. He's trying to groom me.
He's trying to groom you?
Well, he's trying to reverse groom me,
He
actually.
does do that.
He's trying to break my team down. So Tim is the biggest fraud this, and obviously Saquon Merchant. Once Saquon takes one step onto the MetLife turf and sprains his ankle and he's out with a lingering, ankle injury for the rest of the year, we're gonna see.
You ain't got to worry about that though. We're gonna bench Saquon that week and sign Boston Scott to a 10-day contract. So there's no worries there. No drop in production. The king of MetLife will be back.
Is that the last week of the year too? So then maybe not. But he'll sprain his ankle at some point. So don't you guys worry. All right, I have it up. So again, just to clarify, I have the mid and the contenders category and the frauds, and those are in no particular order. So like I wouldn't consider myself the first contender, although maybe I am. But I wouldn't, say me 1, Stretch 2, Bev 3, and then 4, Joe 5, Bachman 6, Jimmy 7. That's not how I ranked it. They're just, haves and have-nots and frauds, if that makes sense. And a lot of this was based on, who won week 1. Yeah, I'm looking at it, and there's definitely some things I would have to change. Bachman's definitely a fraud. Bev is mid because he's a Tyreek Hill merchant. And Jimmy's mid right now, but he beat me, and obviously I'm one of
the contenders.
I'm one of the squad. So yeah, Jimmy might be back up at the contenders. So yeah, that's what I would change. You could maybe put Eugene as a fraud because he's 3-0. Yeah. So those would be my adjustments. But for the most part, everyone has the same character there. You're no one's jumped. Yeah. Everyone's pretty much the same.
Mostow, I know you said I'm mid, but did you know that you've never beaten me?
Yeah, listen,
Ladies and gentlemen,
I've lost a lot to Eugene, too. Doesn't make it good.
He's better than you.
Yeah, that's why you play multiple games per year,
162.
So, yeah, everyone knows you're just a Mostow merchant. That's how you make it to the playoffs.
Mostow merchant. Just eating up on the diabetic.
You said the merchant thing, and now I can't get it out of my head.
I'm saying a lot of shit, man.
We do say a lot of shit on this pod. Mostow, would you like to give just a bit of state of the union to the league? Kind of you're looking around, some of the points that you see maybe about your team, about other teams, maybe about the rest of the league. What do you see going on in the LED FFL these days? Outside of a lot of merchants.
Touched on what would be my state of the union. It's all about me, obviously. So I'll
Clearly.
talk about my team. Listen, I do a great job with what I've got. You look at my team. Listen, I lost this week. I get 25 points from Chuba Hubbard. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Chuba? Is it Chuba?
It's Chuba.
He's like the gum.
Jacko's on my team. I'm resourceful, and I just can't break this team up because of that. And, Christian Kirk coming back with 11 this week after having some down weeks.
whoa, very nice.
I'm just very excited about my team, very excited about the playoff run that we're going to go on. It's going to be like a 2007 Giants type of year. I guess the other thing I want to say is I'm
Gonna get carried by your defense?
What?
Gonna get carried by your defense?
Yeah. Well, carried by Alvin, hopefully, with the MVP. Also, wait, is this rivalry week?
No.
No, rivalry week's the second to last week of the regular season.
Oh, so it's not me and Nap anymore? Because I play Nap.
No, it
this
is,
week.
but you probably played it twice.
Oh, okay. Oh,
See?
good. I like that.
Gotta get your win totals up.
2 wins.
All right. And a segment that I've been looking forward to for a couple weeks, just to kind of wrap it up. We've kind of touched on it briefly. There have been a lot of really bad trades and a lot of really bad moves to happen in this league. It's kind of got my brain going. I think it was a week ago, since the last time I've been on, Jordan Mason got traded for Calvin Ridley. I know there was some back and forth there between Joe and Tim. That trade moved around. People have been saying Joe doesn't know how to value players. It's really been tough. And I asked all you guys to come with your favorite bad trade or bad ad drop to happen in the league. Bev, I'm going to start with you. What do you think is potentially the worst, if not your favorite bad trade to ever happen in this league?
I picked a classic for this one. I know I talk about it kind of frequently, but Nat made a trade with Jimmy back in the day of Joe Burrow for Zach Wilson in a second. And I remember at the time, he got a lot of crap for it. He said, with that second, I could figure out and get another shot at another QB. Any guesses on who he drafted? Because I did my research. He drafted David Bell, who
the hell
might
is
not
that?
know who that is.
Oh, he's like the sixth string receiver on the Niners, right?
No, he's on the Browns, so even worse.
Wow.
Unless he got cut from the Browns, that's where he was last time I checked.
David Bell. Where'd he go to school?
No idea.
I know I say who is that a lot, but who
I'm thinking of Ronnie Bell. Sorry, guys. I watched him drop a pass this week. He's ass.
Oh, I mean, obviously, yes, he's on Naps.
He's still on the Browns.
Okay.
He's on the IR.
Even worse.
Tough.
Not only did he trade away Joe Burrow, he now can't figure out the right quarterback to start. Really put himself in that predicament, didn't he? Bachman, what do you think is the worst trade?
I'm going with a relatively recent one. Reason I chose this one is just because, honestly, the story behind it was that Tim was going to drop him completely, and Eugene offered him a third, which is wild, but the classic 2025 third for Kyron Williams, the Tim and Eugene trade. I know Dino briefly touched on this earlier, but we don't actually know if Eugene actually thought he was going to be good or if he just wanted him because he was another.
I can tell you what happened with that because it was a rough day at Palethorpe that day. It was after the draft, waivers opened up, and if I'm not mistaken, there were 3 guys that both Tim and Eugene wanted. They called them the Holy Trinity because they're obnoxious, and Tim outbidded Eugene on every single one of them. I think one of them was Ty Chandler. One of them was Kyron Williams. I don't recall the third one. I think he's kind of irrelevant in comparison to those two. But they were the Holy Trinity. Eugene wanted at least one of them. Tim was going to cut Kyron Williams. I think he told Eugene he was just going to cut him. Not sure Eugene's fab situation gave up a future third because he was the Notre Dame guy. So he definitely just fell into it.
Yeah.
Which good for him, I guess.
It's one of those wild scenarios where there's been bad trades and everyone's made them, but they've always gotten something back for it. It hasn't just been a straight up I was gonna drop him and then he just became a superstar a week later. So.
Well, it was before Kyron Williams really stepped up. Tim did just make that Cam Akers trade, so he didn't know. Mostow, what do you feel is one of the worst trades in league history?
Yeah, it's interesting that Bachman said that. He seems to be neglecting a trade that he was a central figure in.
You're not even going to mention the right one.
I think there's been a few different ones.
I mean, the worst trade of all time, and really it was the best trade for me, but horrible for him, was the Cooper Cup for Amari Cooper trade. I mean, number one, on its face at the time.
On his face.
Cooper Cup was going into his first year with Brad Stafford.
Got him!
Second, Amari Cooper's quarterback at the time, I believe, was still Dak, who, I mean, cue the Shady McCoy. Do you have that?
I don't have that one, unfortunately. They don't have it.
Dak is ass. And then I also, on top of that, got a second-round pick and Bobby Tonyan.
You got a third. You got a third.
Okay.
You're not a second.
All right, I got a third. Bobby Tonyan had a nice...
What did Bobby Tonyan do?
Yeah, Bobby Tonyan...
He blocked.
He had a nice one-year run as a touchdown machine.
When he was on my team, not when he was on yours.
No, I had a good run with him.
No, he was tight end like 24 when he was on your team.
Well, all right, I knew that. But either way, straight up, I would have won that trade, and then I got 2 other additional pieces. So that was the worst trade in history.
Okay, I must.
I think you traded first for Derek Carr.
No, I think it was a second. But
Wait,
I think it was a first, dude.
It was a first.
No. It wasn't.
No, but Mostow.
It was a first for Derek Carr and 2/3.
That's not great. Hey, QB9 right now.
A first for a guy that's single-handedly bringing peace to New Orleans.
That's harder than bringing peace to the Middle East. They're fucking nuts down there.
Bachman, what were you going to say?
Yeah, let me, while you were rambling, I did a little bit of research on my own. Let's just pull up the stats of Amari Cooper and Cooper Cup really quick. For the last years when we traded teams, the 1 year Cooper Cup was 1, Amari Cooper was 11. The next year, Cooper Cup was 47, Amari was 15. And this year, Cooper Cup is currently 67, and Amari is 33. So he had the 1 year, and then after that, he's kind of done absolutely nothing. So, in the case, I don't think it was that bad.
All right, that's like saying, Mrs. Kennedy or Mrs. Lincoln. How was the play other than that? I mean, the 1 year that Cooper Cup had was the best wide receiver year in the history of the NFL.
Triple Crown.
So,
Yeah, that's crazy. You must have won a chip with that.
Did you even make the playoffs with that?
Yeah, I did. I did. No, my team was nasty that year.
The thing is, I actually did do the math, and even if I did half them, I lost by so much, I still would not have won in the finals that year. So,
how much? I have a question. When you guys Tim from Tax says he does the math. Like, when you guys do the math, how long does that take?
I mean, that one's easy.
You just got to find the difference in what it would have been, and then just add it to the point differential.
Yeah.
But you add up all those numbers, doesn't it take forever?
We're changing one person, man.
Yeah, man, this is what the School of Arts and Crafts at St. Joe's taught him. Just basic addition's too hard.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right.
I don't look at stats, so.
Last but surely not least, in doing my research on this one, I looked at a lot of different trades. One of the names that came up a couple times was Amon-Ra, in quite possibly 2 of the worst trades in league history. First, if you were going to bring up a Bachman trade, he traded Amon-Ra, a first, and a second for Tyler Lockett. And then almost a year later to the day was what has been dubbed Groomergate. There was the A.J. Brown trade, where I got A.J. Brown for what was essentially A.J. Brown and a first for Rondale Moore and Miles Sanders, a second and a third. That was a fun one. There was the Aaron Rodgers trade that I did, and kind of looking through what I think is the worst trade in league history. It kind of went under the radar because it was part of a 3-team trade, was when Joe traded for Mark Andrews. And it kind of went under the radar, like I said, because it was part of Tim getting Mahomes and Kelsey and Sam starting his rebuild. The net of that trade was Joe traded away George Kittle, his 2024 first, and his 2026 first for Mark Andrews in a second. His 2024 first became Caleb Williams. And as we're sitting right now, George Kittle didn't play this week and had just as many points as Mark Andrews.
Yikes.
Last year, Mark Andrews was tight end 13. He wasn't even a tight end 1. George Kittle, if I'm not mistaken, was tight end 5. This year, in 3 games, he has 6 receptions for 65 yards total. Not only did he trade away a better tight end, he gave up 2 first-round picks, and even though I don't believe in Caleb Williams, he was kind of the consensus QB1, and you know I don't believe in guys who paint their nails. We've been over this. Not a leader of men, if you will. I know Mostow will agree with me on that one.
That's on God, yeah. That's
on God. And another first-round pick to be named late. And I didn't understand at the time, and I guess he got a little younger. But at 29, Mark Andrews looks washed. He's not even playing. Like I said before, he had a 33% snap share in a tight game where they had to throw the ball. He's been forced out of that offense. He's on a contract for the next 2 years.
I don't know if I call that a tight game where they had to throw the ball.
It was the Cowboys scored like 18 points in the last 10 minutes of the game.
You know, they did just run the ball down their throat.
You know, let me spew my narratives here.
The point stands.
The point does stand. He played 33% of the snaps.
That's yikes.
And you traded 2 firsts and a better tight end for him. Anyway, there have been some bad trades going on.
They're what keep the league interesting now.
They do. We do have some dipshits floating around. It's really nice to try to take advantage. Like, in case the league doesn't know, Bachman's a really easy target. As Mostow knows, as Carraher knows, as I know, which is what looked like a bad trade with the Rashad White trade. Really can be taken advantage of there, Bachman.
You can't even make a call on that. It's way too early. It's like week 3. You can't say.
Bucky Irving's running him out of town, man.
Yeah, man. He's getting increased carries this week.
Hey, no, I always say that I make the worst trades. I also think I made some of the best. That Debo trade was untouched. I got Debo for, and a second for, I gave up, Devin Singletary, I think.
Connor, it doesn't count.
What did Debo do this week?
He was hurt.
Exactly. And look, an underrated part of that trade that I want to come back and acknowledge, it was Devin Singletary and a third for Debo in a second. But it also included the GOAT Baker Mayfield, who's kind of killing it right now.
I did give up Baker Mayfield.
What a loss.
I'd take Baker over Debo.
Who drafted Baker, man? I gotta know.
I don't know. I think Connor did.
I think Connor did.
Yeah, 6th round. Auto drafted him in the 6th round.
He bounced around more than anybody else, I think.
Because if you remember, he didn't draft his original team. He got auto drafted and then won the league.
Nah, DeAndre Hopkins has bounced around more than anyone else. That guy's been on 6 different teams.
The 102.
Miles Sanders got passed around too. All right, I think that is going to do it, guys. Mostow, any parting words for the league?
No, just that I'm back and relax.
All right. Happy to have you guys. That was week 3 on the Big Fudge Experience. I will see you guys next week.
Thank you.